Greg, I hear that LinkedIn is taking something away again. Is this true?
It was true for about 3 days, and there was such a groundswell that LinkedIn gave it back. Now, why couldn't we do this for Q&A?
That's right. Now,
Right.
our access to remove our connections, to download our connections. I think this is a real wake-up call for people.
Oh, I think so as well. I think this is a shot across the bow from LinkedIn to say, hey, listen, you're on our platform, we own it, and if we want to pull the plug on something, we're going to damn well do it. I mean, same thing goes with Facebook, right? So
right.
If they want to turn down the ability to reach an organic audience on LinkedIn on a page or something along those lines, LinkedIn can do things like this as well.
Yeah, it's a reminder before you go in, reminder of the importance of keeping your own. For older guys, we call it our golden Rolodex to reference our show with the founder of John of Nimble, and holding that with you and keeping track of the key people on something. You're paying for the domain, you control it, you're paying for the app, the product directly. And just because you're paying the LinkedIn doesn't mean they can't mess around with that stuff.
Exactly. I think something to keep in mind for our listeners is that LinkedIn is a publicly traded company, and they are doing things where once was before, it was best for the community, but now they're answering to shareholders, and whether they admit it or not, that's who they report to, because they need to drive up the stock price and things like that. And I know that sounds cliche. We've heard it before all the time, but this is the big, concern that we have when social networks go public. Answer, or else some sort of bad news comes out and the earnings go down, and then all of a sudden people are leaving LinkedIn because they think it's going to crash, or they're going to leave Facebook because there's, eventually they're not going to have enough money to run the power to run the servers and so on and so forth. But I think this also, in this particular situation where LinkedIn has said, they did for 3 days, they took away the ability for us to export our contacts from LinkedIn, which means your ability to get email addresses from your first degree connections, and then just getting that rush of aggravated, I don't even know how to phrase it, just aggravated groundswell to come at them, and LinkedIn actually reversed the decision and decide to put that feature back in place until they can find another way to make it faster for people to export their data.
Greg, would you just take a minute, go over what happened and what people respond, and then let's talk about actions we're recommending people take.
Sure. So a few days ago, I think it was earlier. We're in the 26th of July. I think it was earlier last week. LinkedIn had quietly posted on their blog that they were turning off the ability for us to export our first degree connections and get the email addresses of those first degree connections, which we've always had, right? So we've always had the ability to take and export them, put them into Outlook, add them to our email marketing platforms, add them into our CRM, whatever the case may be. And it made it very easy, especially for salespeople in particular, to be able to pull that information out and then have that one-on-one conversation off of LinkedIn and in their own email, in their own email world. So they can have that intimate relationship. Well, so many people hit support and said, don't take away this ability. I want it back. Turn it back on. We need this. This is part of our routine. This is part of our livelihood. You're taking this away. Our connections are really what is the product of LinkedIn. So LinkedIn yesterday or the day before, I think it was Friday, said, hey, listen, we're sorry. We understand basically that 72 hours to export all of your data, because when they turned it off, they said you had to actually request your data from LinkedIn, which would take up to 72 hours to get. And it included a lot more than just email addresses. LinkedIn said, all right, fine, we'll turn it back on, but we're going to find another way. So what we're basically recommending is that Anybody who is using LinkedIn, who relies on it, who does pull their first degree connections, that contact information out to add them into their own email database, their contact book or anything like that, we're recommending that you on a either daily or weekly basis, anytime you add new connections, you just grab that email address and you pull it into your CRM, you pull it into your contact, whatever you're using to take and record your contacts, anything like that, and just do it on a regular basis, because it's probably going to get real hard here soon.
What I do is, if there's someone I'm just connecting to that I might work with in the future, we haven't built anything up, I may not immediately grab that through Chrome in Nimble and bring in to Nimble. If it's someone important I've met that I want to keep track of, I take that extra moment to bring into Nimble through Chrome, which would be anyone's CRM, and then I've got it captured. And this is just a reminder to be more vigilant with it.
I agree. I think that LinkedIn has been shutting off access to third-party tools now for the last couple of years, and they're doing this because there are some people that they're developing rogue programs on the LinkedIn platform, and because of these developers and the access that they're giving to people, there's just too much privacy concern at hand, and they only want to work with what they're deeming as trusted partners, like Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics. They're not even working with Oracle at this point, which is kind of surprising. Before, with Nimble, you used to have the ability to just take and authorize your Nimble account or authorize your LinkedIn account to connect, to talk to your Nimble account, your Nimble CRM account, and it would then sync your first degree connections that way. Well, now, as you had mentioned, using the Chrome application, the Chrome extension, you have to actually, as soon as you make that connection, you got to make a regular routine of it, of hitting the Nimble button, capturing that information, and dropping it into your CRM. Yep. I think it just has to become part of a new routine. And I know salespeople hate change, but the ones that I know that listen to the show, they know how to adapt. They know how to be nimble and actually move forward in knowing that the number one thing that their responsibility is as a salesperson is to make money, right? So. Yep. We got to do these little things, these little changes, and that's what the show is for. I think it's to kind of to let you know that the changes are coming, and you need to be prepared for it. So get ready for a routine change.
Yeah, and I just want to footnote again. This is LinkedIn's doing, not Nimble doing. Since we've mentioned it, we know John and great group there. I want to bring up. Have we covered this, Greg? Can I go over my latest app that I've fallen in love with?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I want to talk about Pocket. Mm-hmm. And many of you have heard of Pocket. I want to give a little shout out to Kramer Gallimore, a friend that has brought this to my attention. And it's a tool where you can find things on the web and throw it into your pocket, like you want to read it later. What's exciting about Pocket is that it has the capability now to be able to read the content from your phone into a voice. So I can get something and listen to it in the car. This is a huge asset to me. I don't enjoy reading a lot. I'm a slower reader, and this makes massive amounts of content available to me, and I just love it. So just want to do a little shout out to it's getpocket.com is the site. And you can sign up with your Google account, and I am using it. I am loving it, from my interest in quantum mechanics to the latest business thing on. Really love it, and that's my favorite app for the day, Greg. So
very cool. Actually,
else you've got? We just wanted to get this to be a quick show of saying, wake up, bring in the important people, don't lean on it. Don't assume all your stuff is safe there. Don't be paranoid either. Just make sure you control your key contacts.
Exactly. I think that, by the way, we had an episode, a few episodes back, 35 of our favorite social selling tools out there, and I believe Pocket was on that list. So if listeners are listening, I don't think we talked about back then, but the fact that it can read articles to you, I think that's a new feature, so I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. I didn't realize it. There was an app before called Umano that was acquired, but it was an acqui-hire. So they basically, whoever bought them for the engineers rather than the actual application to kind of grow revenue with it. But basically, they had narrators that you submitted an article and a narrator would read it for you, and so that was a pretty cool feature. But Nimble or using Pocket to listen to your articles, that's actually pretty good. As a tie-in for that, if you have favorite blogs that you really love to read and you got particular categories, head out to If This Then That, that ifttt.com, and have it automatically drop stuff inside your Pocket whenever something new is published, so that way you go in there and you always have fresh content inside Pocket. So, but it is a really great application. I love it.
Greg, we need to do a Camtasia or a show on If This Then That, especially now that it works with my Amazon Echo. That would be a real good one to do. But this reminds me of, we have a video tutorial that talks about how to export for LinkedIn, so make sure to watch it. And Greg, would you just go through the concept of the steps of exporting from LinkedIn, not all the details for our listeners, so they at least get where they need to go to start exporting?
Absolutely. Let me just kind of talk you through it real quick. For the heck of it, let's go ahead and share my desktop. Let me get this up here where we got share, screen share, and let's do this one here. Okay. You should be seeing my desktop now, or my screen right now, right?
Yep, sure.
Okay.
Do.
So we're currently looking at my activity stream. And what you're going to do is actually head over to Connections and click on Connections in the top menu bar, and then.
And for our listeners, just remember this. Go ahead.
So head over to Connections in the menu bar, and then look for the little gear icon on the right side of the page. It's going to be just underneath your profile picture, not too far down, but it's in the main Connections header section. But I believe that's. You click on that little gear there, and it says Settings, and then in the right-hand column under Advanced Settings, okay, there's going to be your first option there is to export LinkedIn connections, okay, and you're going to click that button right there, click on it, and then choose what file format you want to export to. Okay, your choices are going to be Microsoft Outlook, Outlook Express, Yahoo Mail, a Mac OS X address file, and a vCard file. The Outlook file is, and the Outlook Express and the Yahoo Mail files are all CSV files. Any of those will work, but when you export them, they're going to put additional headers in the file, so that way it basically matches what Outlook has, or Outlook Express or Yahoo Mail has when they import. So it makes the import much easier. But that's it. So it just click on it and then hit export, and you'll get a CSV file. And that's it.
Is there one you recommend? I mean, is there one that seems to import better?
No.
I would generally pick the Microsoft CSV. You know, if you don't know how you'll use it in the future and you're just doing it quick to protect yourself, is there one you'd pick?
I think you choose whatever your default mail program is. So you should, if you're using Outlook, use Outlook. If you're going to import into Gmail, use Outlook. If you're going to do anything on a Mac, like if you want to put your contacts into Mac's address book, use the Mac one as well. But I think that the Gmail or the Google Mail version of it works very, very well with Outlook, Microsoft Outlook CSV export. And what's really nice about that is that when you import your connections into your Google Contacts record, you can actually tag them. So create a tag of those that are first degree connections. It's so that way you know who they are when you go through your address book and they sync up on your phone as well.
Excellent. Well, that really wraps up this show. Very important one. As always, if you're watching us on YouTube, we'd love a like and a comment. If you're listening to us on one of the podcast shows, we want your feedback, your questions, your comments, your critiques. Tasteful jokes are welcome. Keep them coming. We're your cheerleaders in selling. This is Martin Brosman, and over to you to wrap it up.
All right, now I'm Greg Heyer, and you've been watching or listening to Linking into Sales. your social selling and podcast and training resource. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at linking2sales. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Come out to Facebook, like our page out there. You'll find that linking in the sales. You also can join our LinkedIn group. We really would love to have you come in and join our LinkedIn group. There's some really good conversations and content that we end up putting into that group to help salespeople just kind of stay on edge, stay on the cutting edge of what's going on in sales. But anyways, have a great week, and we'll catch you next time.